So a little science talk. Just my mother just prepared soup using a pressure cooker. So it reminded me of the idea to use pressure cooker for experiments, which is something that actually I thought about lately. I mean, during the last couple of days. I would say right now that it's a bad idea, and I'm not going to do it. But let's just quickly um, discuss what kind of thinking could lead to even the idea. So we are dealing with a new kind of science that is already shaken all fundamental aspects of every natural science that is known to mankind. And I'm doing it with almost no background in science. I have a bachelor's degree in computer sciences, but I know nothing about biology, very little physics. So I'm doing it as a layman, but I trust myself that to have a good instinct and the help of guys at Dishma, and of course to learn along the way. But one of the things that actually very helps me a lot. I know that some people can watch this YouTube channel and think to themselves, "Wow, this man is a genius." I mean, in like a month and a half, he's shaking everything from mechanics to magnetism and electricity to physics, particle physics, and of course computer science, etc., etc. But the truth is that almost everything that you do. Again, you must understand. I mean, if anyone, I understand it's hard to comprehend it because, I mean, again, if you, Homo sapiens, have so much difficulty to accept that a person that looks just like you and acts just like you and talks just like you still, I mean, you have a problem to accept the fact that I'm actually an intelligent creature, and you think that perhaps I'm just a robot that follows commands, even though you've seen me, I grew up, among you, and I live here for almost 40 years, and I speak in your language, and I gladly do so. And again, you have your doubts. Maybe he's not just a robot. I mean, so I imagine that for such people like you to accept the fact that nanoscopic or microscopic entities are also, I mean, intelligent creatures, it's probably very difficult. But I mean, that's the way it is. So since they are so smart and intelligent, almost any kind of like a purposeful and wise or meaningful interaction that you do with them creates some kind of reaction from them that is also intelligent. It might not be what you expected, or I mean, of course, and as I said, they always say this is an exercise in communication in many way. Everything that I do. Um, but it will look, I mean, for the viewer, it almost any kind of almost any kind of systematic and okay, any kind of systematic systematic um, systematic let's call it experiment with them, following like a protocol which is at least according to to me as the scientist in this scenario it makes sense. I mean, it's not just random actions but actually something that you actually want to do and to repeat itself again and again. Any kind of interaction will probably have some results that, I mean, some of them will at least be seen as meaningful and even amazing. And of course, not everything is amazing. I have a lot of experience. I mean, many of the experiments ends up just in a filthy slide with nothing interesting on it. I have already a bunch of many dozens of filthy slides that are, I mean, are not particularly interesting. So it's not that. So that's why. So that's. But since it's they're so interactive, the neurons, it's relatively easy even for a person like myself to reach many to see many interesting phenomena. So I mean, but I mean again, I'm a layman, so I try to push the neurons to new limits. So they will be able so they will be able to work and to do more meaningful work. And of course, the most interesting and the most effective, I mean, discovery in this field was done this week when I understood that the most, I mean, the things that will make them live and grow with the most efficiency is if the Israelis will stop killing them. Uh, yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad, but yes, everything is sad in this country because I can run experiment all day with like what kind of food they should be given. Like I mean, do they eat beeswax or perhaps date honey or perhaps iodine? But I mean, maybe these are all legitimate sources. I mean, causes of study, but it's kind of really it's very stupid to deal too much with it when I mean every day the Israelis are killing all of them. So I mean, stop killing them all. So it's probably will be much more effective than any kind of food that I will give them to eat. Um, so I conduct experiment that, and so I try. I'm a lot of time is dedicated to see different. I mean, to check different what I call living environments or working environments. This is a major issue, as you understand. I guess it will continue to be a major issue because. I mean, I mean, we know that they live inside my body, but I'm not going to necessarily. I don't necessarily need to replicate my own body or I mean, in order to for them to do stuff. That's the main like that's the first discovery and the most important. I mean, the most relevant for everything that I speak about in the channel that they can do things outside my body. But then what, where, and how, and what conditions exactly are beneficial for them. So we can deal with temperature, and we've talked about the freezer and about. And maybe heating them, and we can deal with magnetism. It's a very important subject that I've spoken about a lot, and there is still much to say, and subjected to electrical current, and the effects of different type of radiation. But one of the things that I have not like specifically discussed until now is indeed a very known and like trivial physical metric, which is the metric of pressure. Pressure is very important. I mean, normally humans don't think about it too much because in normal situation we humans are all. I mean, we always almost always we act in the same pressure, which is pressure of 1 atmosphere, which is an amazing coincidence. That I mean, because one is such a round number, and that's no. Of course, I mean it was yes, you understand. So yes, 1 atmosphere is the pressure that we all of us. I mean, we always. There is a joke in Futurama, which is really nice, like for nerds. That I mean. So it's a spaceship. They are running like a spaceship in the future, and in some of the voyages, they crash into a planet and start to dive into the ocean. So Lila, or she's like this the main officer or something like that. She starts to say like pressure is getting up here, 2 atmospheres, 10 atmospheres, 20 atmospheres, because indeed when you dive into the ocean, the pressure is getting higher and higher. So then Fry, which is another one of the, I mean, is the protagonist, is like asking the professor, which is also a professor there, which is like he runs all the technical stuff and the scientific. So he asks the professor, how many atmospheres can this ship actually, or how, like, what's the pressure, what's the number of atmospheres that, what's the normal scale for that this ship is designed to handle? So he answers 0 to 1, which is funny because indeed, I mean, the fact that it's not a trivial answer for everyone is due to the fact that we humans, I mean, we deal a lot with issues like, I mean, in day-to-day life, again, like, first of all, like temperature or humidity, or sometimes even things that really, I mean, voltage, if we are doing things with electronics. But we don't think about pressure too much. So, I mean, it's kind of a question to us some people know that as you go down in the ocean, I mean, the pressure goes up because I mean, everybody studies. I mean, some people, I mean, it's relatively common for people to dive, so they know. So they know that. I mean, there's an issue of pressure, and you can't like come up from below too much because then there is a very a quick decompression, which is very helpful. I mean, very helpful. It will be helpful from my point of view, but I mean. From the point of view of humans, it's not. It's really unhelpful. I mean, it's not. It's really dangerous medically. So it's kind of like and it's a question for us. Like, I mean, can a spaceship, like, I mean, the USS Enterprise or any kind of like a spaceship, I mean, a very famous, fantastical spaceship, I mean, can it dive under the ocean, and how many atmospheres will it be able to handle? But the answer is quite surprising because spaceships are designed to I mean, for either the space or, I mean, sometimes they land on the planet, right? I mean, just, I mean, they are in the garage or the airport or whatever. So it's one. So it's 0 or 1. um, so but I mean, it's a question. I mean, how much like what's the pressure which, I mean, these neurons can and want or should be handle for different, I mean, and also for different things that they do, because they do different stuff. I mean, we have already seen that they require very different conditions if they want to create, I mean, in order for them to create life, or in order for them to do sculpturing or drawing or things like that, we've seen that they do very well and they really like to do, but it's really different. This kind of like thing that they do is, I mean, all the sculpturing and gardening is very, very different than than creating life. Even though sometimes these actions, I mean, slightly, I mean, overlap, and this is something that, I mean, I was, I mean, at first it got me a little bit confused, because they also paint life and they also create life, but it's not the same thing. So it can be confusing, but I mean, painting and creating life is not the same. Or drawing life, and I mean, life form, but they also create life forms. So the question of pressure. So I don't have. So I thought about it during the last couple of days, and I've actually devised several. I mean, like in my head, several like experiments that I want to actually hold with different pressures. And the main idea is to create to stop using glass and clay and things like that, and start using metal boxes, which are sturdier for the and. But also, what's very important is to create a kind of chimney. So I will be able to control the pressure. And this is also the reason why I'm not going to use a pressure cooker. Pressure cookers are kind of an exception to what I've said before, because it's kind of an object which deals with different kind of pressures, and it's a household item. And by the way, in some cultures it's actually extremely popular. I mean, much more than what it's common in the West. For example, like I know that Indian bachelors, like young Indian males, are like, I mean, they do everything with pressure cooker. Like, I mean, they just, I mean, it's the only thing that they use pretty much. Like they cook everything with the pressure cooker. I mean, you can't take, I mean, like you can take away the pressure cooker from a young like Indian male in an urban society, like in a bachelor in urban society, in urban settings. I mean, you can't. I mean, if there is one thing that you can take from him is his pressure cooker. So the problem, I mean, this is a kind of an exception, because I mean, they deal with very different pressures and they are household items, but they must be operated as designed. Pressure cookers are not something to mess up with. It's one of, I mean, I mess up with many stuff. Like it's some of the things that I do. I mean, I study new kinds of science in in very primitive home environment with no like nothing substantial, no research. So I do it like MacGyver. Like you remember MacGyver from the 80s, like him. So like I take, I mean, all sorts of like common things and just try to create like science from them. But pressure cooker is not a potentially good candidate for such items, because it must be, I mean, in order to actually work well and not be dangerous, and I mean, and I mean, not be like if you don't want to do something which is either stupid or dangerous, it's best to just, I mean, operate the pressure cooker as the manufacturer intended. And that's why I'm not going to use the pressure cooker, but I will gradually work with higher pressure by, as I said, heating the metal cans and releasing pressure with chimneys. There are several ways to build chimneys actually, that allows me to control the pressure. It will not be very high pressure. I will not reach pressures of pressure cooker for certain. I cannot do it in home environment, but it's okay, because I don't want, like, again, I don't want to actually start like a gold nugget manufacturing plant here in my mother's balcony. Everything I do is proof of concept, and when I have later on in my life, I mean, I hope that it will be soon, that I'll be freed from this hell, from this Nazi country. I'll be able to start like manufacturing. I hope it will, of course, be in China, and then, I mean, when I'm armed with all the new information, it will be much easier for me to actually, I mean, buy like production material and manufacturing material, and that will suit my needs. And then, if for example, I will know that I need, then it's good to, I mean, it's beneficial for the process of, I don't know, creating graphite or silver that will have like a pressure of, I don't know how many atmospheres. I will be able to start to procure the correct like items and facilities. Okay, that's it for now.